All right, we're here with Trevor Dean with Open Mic Insider. We're here at Comedy Lab. How's it going, man?
It's all right. I actually look more handsome than I thought. This won't be so bad.
This is a good camera. It can it adds 10 pounds of handsomeness.
You can tell that you can tell that I'm going to be 45. Look at all those. Holy crap! Look at all those wrinkles. Wow.
Oh man, I'm 105.
Wow. I need help.
So, how long have you been doing comedy for?
It'll be 6.5 years in April. So
6.5 years.
Yeah.
All right. And you've been coming to Comedy Lab off and on for the last year, about.
Yeah. Whenever I get those those little pockets of self-esteem, my therapist said to take advantage of them, so I tend to come when I have self-esteem. Yeah. So
just that you can get it taken away, or
yeah, sure. That's yeah.
That's always fun with.
Yeah, my ex took away my self-esteem, and I just gotta ride that wave. You gotta ride that wave. It's entertaining.
Yeah, she got that in the breakup. She's like.
Yeah, she got my self-esteem in the breakup. I should write a joke about that. Yeah, fantastic.
So what do you think of the audience tonight? What do you think?
It's all right. It's only my second time back after an 8-month absence, so it seems like you seem like you're really into what I'm saying. I feel like we're connecting.
Yeah, that's how conversations work.
So you really are my friend. Okay. I don't know. I think they're okay. There's been a few different types of comedians that are doing like one-liners and dirty stuff and a little bit of clean stuff, and I think it's I don't know, so far so good. So we'll see what happens.
So you said that you took 8 months off.
Yeah, 8 years. Yeah, people wish I took 8 years off. Yeah.
You took a year and a half before you started comedy off. What have you been doing the last 8 months that you took comedy off?
Attending church at Faith Alive, trying to understand myself better, getting the garden ready, and just writing the blog, and just working on. I've been working on, I guess, about 12 pages of material since the beginning of the year. So we're gonna throw some of that out there tonight and see what sticks.
All right. What are some of the premises that you're gonna be working on?
Well, all I'll say is. I'm going to call this set Life and Death.
Life and Death.
And when you see the material, it'll make some sense. I like to keep people surprised because my looks aren't enough to keep somebody interested, so I got to kind of add the element of surprise. I got to give them a reason to stick around and just kind of see how it's going to go. So so it's my set's called Life and Death, and
start with life, finish with death.
Yeah, my death on stage, yeah. And I hope that I have enough time to do my jokes. We're going to talk about a couple of topics that other comedians aren't talking about, and I'm not afraid to try. I'm not afraid to go out there and try stuff that other people aren't talking about, because when it's a different subject that you haven't heard before, you're more inclined to listen and sort of follow along and see where it goes. So that's what I'm hoping happens.
Right on. Well, we'll see what happens, and we'll talk to you after.
Pray for me.
Pray for him.
Weed and sex. Now I am going to be 45 in May. I can proudly say that I've never, ever had experiences with weed or sex. Because I'm always broke. I had a friend of mine ask me if I could sit down and talk to any person throughout history, who would it be? And the first name that came to mind was Adam, the first guy of the Bible. I think he would have been the coolest guy to talk to. Could you imagine, at the beginning, God placed Adam in charge of naming everything, plants, animals, everything. Could you imagine what it was like to be Adam, having that much power at the beginning? What if there was social media back then? Like, how would he, who would he have to send tweets out to brag about his accomplishments? What would he do? Send out a tweet saying, hey God, I came across this horny animal and named it a rhinoceros. And God tweets back a reply, he's like, I know, I was there, remember? Hashtag OMG. And then God's like, hey, Adam's lonely. I'm going to hook a brother up. I know this great girl. She'd make a great wife for him. What could possibly go wrong? I know. So now, God told Adam this, like he didn't sit him down and say, Adam, here's what's going on, because you know how guys get when it's like, we have to talk. So God, when Adam was asleep, God removed one of Adam's ribs and made Eve. My question is, if God was going to take one of Adam's body parts to make a woman, why didn't he just take his manhood instead? Some bitter guys in the audience, that's good. I had a laugh because you can tell I may be well dressed, but I'm pretty bitter. Because I'm single. But when Eve came along, everything was great. Everyone was going to live forever. It was going to be so good. And then one day Adam, you know, he's going to do God's will. He's going out to work and he's like, okay, honey, I'm going to do my thing. But remember, don't talk to strangers, and whatever you do, don't eat the fruit from that tree. And what happened? Now, I know that women are stubborn, but really, like, why? I can't figure out why she ate from that tree. All because she listened to a snake in the grass. Ladies, is it really that hard? Is it really that easy to listen to a snake in the grass? Because if you're listening, if you have a conversation with a snake and it talks back to you, chances are you need to stop doing drugs because the conversation's not going to go well. Now, I had a conversation with a snake a little while ago, and it ended horribly because the snake told me he was going to help the middle class, and then he implemented a carbon tax. Finally, something to work. I go to Faithful Life Family Church, been going for about a year. They have 5 pastors, and my favorite one is Pastor Renee. He's around my age. He's got awesome hair, and he always prays for me at the end of every service. And he always says the same thing, and when he says it, it's like he's possessed, and he talks with his southern accent. He's like, Trevor, in the name of Jesus, I challenge you to find and experience the fire of God. So last week, I took him up on that. Now I eat at Taco Bell. How many of you, by round of applause, have been to an open casket funeral lately? I know some of you are like, look, Mr. Comedian, just because you look creepy doesn't mean you have to talk about creepy stuff. The only funeral I'm watching right now is yours. Does you guys can shout this out, does anybody know how they lock the casket, like how they close it? Anybody? No, you know what they do to lock it? They use an Allen key. Now, when I saw that, I have 2 questions that come to mind. Number 1, for the guys in the room, how many times have you ever found the right Allen key the first time around to do the job? And secondly, more importantly, how many times have you ever, lost your keys? Do you think that in the middle of the funeral that somebody would, have to go home because they forgot their keys? Seriously, it's 2018. You would think that in this day and age, to close a casket, we just use a key fob. You just point, chirp, chirp, and it closes. That'd be great. Could you imagine what it would be like if a guy working at the funeral home, misplaced his keys? He phones and he phones home and he's like, okay, tell Dad I'm not going to be able to make it for supper. I've locked my keys in the casket. And his sister's like, oh my God, when you get home, you're going to be so dead.
All right. We're here with Trevor, and he just finished his set at the Comedy Lab. How do you feel it went? Oh, and Wolfgang's fucking with us.
Yeah, he tried to grab me, which is probably the only attention I'll get tonight, because I'm sure I didn't win myself any dates. The women were smiling, but they're like, "Oh, you need to go." I don't know. It wasn't bad. The Adam and Eve joke didn't have like, I tried to write it to insert laugh points, which means that, you know, every so often there's laughs, so you can build up a consistency of the laughs to the punchline. And that one wasn't kind of, I don't know, the laughs weren't really there and sort of till the end, but I sort of chugged through it. The casket one was a little bit better because, like I said, the only funeral people were watching was mine. So I don't know, it went, I don't know, I usually don't go up thinking, oh, this stuff's going to be so super awesome and great. I just, you know, do my best. And
yeah, hopefully this is gonna work, and maybe it doesn't, maybe it will.
Well, it's like, well, I mean, comedy is like a puzzle that they don't give you all the pieces to, and you have to. It's like a scavenger hunt to try and find the, you know, the missing pieces and put them in the right spot. So
yeah, sometimes you have to take out your knife and you gotta start cutting up some cardboard.
Oh yeah.
Cutting up the cover. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't. Actually, my parents took away the sharp knives a long time ago for a reason. So,
yeah.
Yeah, there was a reason why they stopped calling me Cutter.
Wow, this is getting a little bit dark here.
And it's not because of my fastball, because I'm not an athlete. So.
Did you have fun up there tonight?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was all right. It was.
Do you usually have fun when you're doing stand-up?
No.
No?
No, I don't. The only, I enjoy everything up to the point right before I get on stage. I love the creative process and looking at a joke and going over it daily for a week or two or a month and editing it. I like everything but going up on stage and telling the jokes. Maybe that's just because of all of the BS and crap that I've been subjected to in the 6.5 years. But I figure, well, if you're going to take the time to come up with an idea and write a joke and craft it, you might as well go up there and do it anyway. So it's, you know...
Put it out in the universe?
Yeah, in the universe, yeah, because that's how far I have to go to find the laughs, because the universe is really vast. And sometimes... Well, yeah, and sometimes you're like Hulk Hogan, you're like, I can't hear those laughs. Oh, there are no laughs. Oh, so...
Yeah, so it's... You've been finding it hard on stage?
No, basically I'd like a girlfriend. So, you know, I could at least have some... you know, self-esteem of a different variety when I come to the shows, and then I can leave in a good mood because I know something may or may not happen at the end. You know, at least I don't have to go stalking people for it. So, you know. Yeah.
So, like, where are you looking for girlfriends? Like, you can't be looking for them at comedy shows, right?
No, because women don't. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to dig myself a hole, which is easy to do. I don't know. I thought church would be a good place.
Yeah, church seems like a good spot to find women, right? I haven't been to church since I've been an adult.
Well, when they're
Christmas or whatever.
Well, a lot of them are too busy praying, trying to seek God to notice me, which is okay. It's okay because everyone goes for their own reasons. But I don't know. Maybe one day, you know, lightning will strike and something will happen.
You'll be up there and you'll be lighting a candle and you'll see sparks, you know, and just everything will happen.
Yeah, like a Roman candle. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Roman Catholic candle.
Yeah, Roman Catholic. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's still a bit of. It's more anticipation for like the big moments like the big shows, like a comedy competition or a laugh shop show or something, just the build up, that's kind of what motivates me to keep going. And they happen infrequently enough that those moments are so momentous, they have such a high that I'm able to ride it for a long time. And, you know, by the time things kind of level off, then something else comes along and, you know, we go back up again. So
you're like all about like the big event shows, like.
Yeah, I'm all about adrenaline because there's not a lot to me, and except the pink shirt. And yeah, I'm all about adrenaline and being as unmanly and as metrosexual as possible.
So you do comedy a lot for the rush of it, or is it the anticipation of going up on stage, but then once you go on stage, it's not as fun? Or?
I don't know. I think part of it's just to still show that I can, because I did.
Show who, that you can yourself, or?
Just others, because I think there are probably still some people. This is getting really deep, because there are probably still some people that, you know, I hired the services of a comedy coach, and he helped turn things around dramatically. And I think without his help, I would have burnt my bridges and pissed a lot of people off, and probably put myself in danger of getting my ass kicked. But you know, because comedy is all wherever you see a comedian, you'll usually see structure. If you sit down and you'll watch the comedians act, it's all about structure. It's like anything else in life. Comedy is basically a formula. You input anything into that formula, and it's going to come out, or it should come out with, you know, the expected result. So it's just, I mean, I've been told that I inspire people, because my friends are like, well, if he can get up on stage and not care whether he eats it or does well and still keep doing it, then, you know, maybe that means I can step out of my shell and, you know, do something different and try things that I've never done before, which is nice. And the other thing too is that I thought about quitting last year, but the one thing that kept going through my head is, if I quit, then I'd have this voice in my head that said that the last 6.5 years would be a waste of the blog and going to LA and the coaching and the laugh shop and all that stuff. And I just wouldn't be able to live with those voices in my head. So I'd rather live with a voice in my head that says, wow, you just really ate it on stage, as opposed to having that voice in my head that say, see, told you so. So basically I've from this whole conversation, you've probably determined that I've got some mental problems, which is pretty accurate, because I do. And actually, Dylan's going to recommend, you are Dylan, right? Yeah. You're going to recommend a good shrink that I should go see after the show, because I really need it.
Yeah. So if you know any good shrinks out there that you think Trevor should go and see, send him a message at the Stand-Up Diaries.
Yeah, because church isn't enough. And and I've got I've got the blog, the Stand-Up Diaries, the Facebook page, and Karnak.
And Karnak. You're still doing Karnak, or?
Yes, Karnak the Mediocre. He's in exile right now with Jacob Zuma. He's the president of South Africa that got overthrown because of corruption and all that stuff, and I think he's in exile right now. So Karnak is currently a spiritual advisor to Jacob Zuma. He's coming out of spiritual exile very soon, and I just spoke to Karnak a while ago, and he may make his return to the Interrupters. So that's something to watch for in the near future.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Trevor.
I feel loved.
You feel loved?
I feel loved. I feel like I have a friend. This is good.
That's good.
This is good.
Is there anything that you like to say to comedy fans about doing open mic comedy that they might not know, like what it's like going on stage?
Low battery. There you go. If you're gonna do it, pardon my French, but know your shit. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. It may sound, well, some people probably have a little bit more confidence than others when they go up the first time. It may sound a little robotic, but the more you do it, just the easier it gets. Yeah, it's not as bad. It's like speed dating. I did speed dating,
yeah,
and I'm still here, which shows you that success. But it's like speed dating. It's one of those things that until you do it, you're like, wow, that really wasn't that bad at all. Especially when you get laughs. So, and I got laughs at speed dating, because we were all in a circle and they were like, tell us something about yourself. And I looked down at my name tag and I said, my name spelled backwards is Rovert. And that's more laughs than I got at that moment. Oh yeah, it killed more than I killed here tonight, aside from the funeral that was on stage.
Yeah. So you say to someone who wants to try to stand up, your advice is to rehearse. Some people say that like getting as much stage time as you can is like the way to go. What are your feelings on like stage time versus?
Stage time is kind of like having a driver's license. It's a privilege, not a right. If you're gonna go, I mean, there are people that pay money to watch, and there's a lot of different things people can do. Be respectful of the audience and of their time. If they're coming to watch you, the least you could do is be prepared the best you can be. Make sure you know your shit. You know, be respectful of the stage, be respectful of the other comedians, be respectful of the audience, and do the best you can.
Right on. So that's all you can do is do the best you can. Thanks a lot, Trevor.
You're very handsome. I can see why. I can see why you have a girlfriend and why I don't.
I just found my angle. That's all.
The camera angle. Yeah. There you go.
But thanks a lot, Trevor. We'll see you at open mics.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Thanks.